Welcome back to Just Chattin, and this is the series of videos we do on Thursday and Sunday evenings just for our own entertainment. So, for all you Audie fans, he is in the front window watching the sunshine. It's quite a sunny day out, and even though the day started off cold, it's actually warmer than it's been lately, so I think he's happy. Is he likely to show up? Well, not if he's got all that sunshine to sleep in. So we'll have to wait and see. So, yellow. There is plenty of yellow on this scarf. Here we go. And the yellow is for Catherine. It's for Lex's mom. And for this evening, it's for Charles, too. It's for everyone who is coping with cancer. All of the cancer patients, all of their family and friends, we are sending out our very best wishes to you. Okay, we're going to take a quick break for the intro, and we will be back. So, there was a reason I added Charles to our list this evening. One of the stories I wanted to cover, and this is a story that appeared in Noticias, which is a Spanish language newspaper, and unfortunately the sources are undocumented. And you know how I feel about that. If you can't pony up a source, don't expect me to believe what you're telling me. But this one, unfortunately, rings true. And that is that William called Harry to tell him he should get back to England to see his father because Charles's time is limited. The publication said that Charles has less than a year. So, very sorry for our British friends. I know this is your monarch. I know this must be difficult. But the reason that I would credit a Spanish language newspaper before sources from the UK or even the US is because when things like this are in the wind, well, the British government and, of course, the American government in sympathy with the British government will try to quash the stories if they can. Now, yes, both countries have a free press, but both governments have a bit of control over the information they release to the public. So, if we hear the breaking news, we are very likely to hear it from another European country. And Noticias is out of Spain. So, that, like I say, it gives a little more credibility. Still, unnamed sources. Now, assuming, and this could be a very big assumption, that it is true, would William reach out to Harry on behalf of their father? Yes, of course. He would do it at Charles's request, or if Charles has indicated he would like his darling boys to make peace before he passes. Would this be sincere? I very much doubt it. I think Harry has burned his bridges. And I think that, and mind you, I say I think, these are my personal opinions. I think that William, as a good and dutiful son, would attempt to make his father's final days, months, weeks, hopefully years, more tolerable by at least making some overtures. Do I think it would go beyond that? No, I do not. Again, personal opinion. I think Harry has done far too much damage already. Furthermore, I think that if this is true, if Charles has a limited amount of time left, and as I say, the paper says a year, I think there's a very good chance William will be looking to Harry as the cause of whatever stress has been added to his father's final time. Just as I think everyone looks at the amount of stress Harry and Nutmeg added to the final days of the late Queen, of Prince Philip. I don't think there would be a lot of genuine forgiveness. Do I think there would be a certain amount of going through the motions? Yes. Yes, I do. But again, as I say, not likely this would really be anything of substance. So I'm throwing that out, and I am not unaware of the fact that this is probably going to be unsettling for the British viewers, but I don't know what to tell you. I've seen the pictures of Charles recently, and I have not been optimistic. So let me show you a very recent picture. This one is, I believe, a week old. And Charles is 75. He does not look well. And I say this as a person who is 70. So this is one of my peers, a person from my generation. I am not like the young people looking at a 75-year-old man saying, oh my goodness, he looks old. No, I'm looking at one of my own contemporaries saying, no, he looks ill. So I would say we should probably all steel ourselves for some bad news in the not too distant future, starting with some overtures being made to Harry. And again, I just don't think that would be anything permanent or long-term, but that's my opinion. William does not take me into his confidence. All right, moving away from that, and I wanted to get that out of the way first because it is a rather depressing subject. We have tons of interesting news stories coming out. Now, most of these are not news stories of the sort we are accustomed to thinking of as news, something interesting happening. Rather, they are more behind-the-scenes stories, again, mostly from unidentified sources, meaning take it with a grain of salt, but a lot of them nevertheless. One of the bigger stories is that it is alleged that Nutmeg and the sock puppet are sleeping apart. That whatever show they put on, by the way, that was another story, whatever show they put on of their public displays of affection for the Invictus Games, there is really nothing beyond the performance. That, in fact, the marriage is virtually crumbling to pieces. We've already heard that Nutmeg had been shopping around the idea of a divorce book, and obviously, if they do get a divorce, Nutmeg, who is, well, she's no brain surgeon, but she's not an idiot either. She's going to have to know that the biggest surges of popularity and publicity she received was when she slammed the British royal family. If they get a divorce, what are we looking at? We're probably looking at a tell-all on the marriage. All of the sock puppet's dark little secrets will be exposed, and in a way that shows Nutmeg in the most favorable possible light. Nevertheless, meanwhile, we have a whole series of stories coming out about how Nutmeg is cozying up with women as opposed to couples. Previously, when she was targeting A-listers that she wanted to be in association with, they were married couples, mostly George and Amal Clooney, David and Victoria Beckham thing. Now she seems to be going after all the single ladies. So we have hopes that she can get in with Billie Eilish, and this is like on her wish list. And In fact, awful as this sounds, my goodness, I can only think that Justine Bateman will turn out to be a lot more validated than anyone ever thought, even going in, if this is true, that the little gift to the young girl who lost her Billie Eilish t-shirt in the California fires, that whole thing may have simply been a ruse in order to sort of meet up with Billie Eilish. If so, good Lord, that takes disaster tourism to a whole new level. Would I put it past her? No, not at all. Billie Eilish is a young woman she did not know, who is very, very popular with Gen Z and older. I think the millennials are listening to her music as well. But Nutmeg apparently is, cat in my lap. Nutmeg is apparently looking for a way to shoehorn herself into the lives of some Gen Z superstars in order to boost her popularity with that generation. And I guess Billie Eilish is the unfortunate young woman who's been targeted by this. I do not know very much about Billie Eilish. I can only say that I know what she looks like, and she looks way too smart to be sucked into this nonsense. But she's not the only one. Jessica Alba, who is apparently divorcing her husband, is the most recent person to get a taste of the Markle claw, because Nutmeg started, to quote the article, bonding with her over their mutual divorces. And I don't know, not a lot of bonding material. Nutmeg was married to Trevor for 2 years. Apparently Jessica's been married for 20 and has, I think they said, 3 children. Not a lot of common ground there. Regardless, we've also got Mindy Kaling, who, in addition to acting, is a producer. And from what I understand, she is reasonably well connected in Hollywood. And this seems to be Nutmeg's new strategy to get in with the girl bosses. Again, we're looking at issues about whether or not she and the sock puppet are going to remain married. Yes, I know, I'm not paying attention to you. Whether or not she and the sock puppet are going to remain married. It looks like she is certainly working out an exit strategy. We have another article. By the way, there are a lot of articles in the video notes this week, a lot of them, because there were a lot of random news blurbs. Apparently, she is looking to establish herself independently. I got to say this without laughing, and I don't think I'm going to make it, because she thinks she will be more popular without the sock puppet than with him. And I can't believe I got through that without busting out laughing. Oh, the delusion is strong with this one. The only thing that ever propelled her into an international spotlight in the first place was her relationship with the sock puppet. And why on earth she thinks she would be better off without him is anybody's guess. And please excuse me for a moment. Sorry, I had to divest myself of a cat that was becoming difficult. What we're looking at here is somebody who is casting about. Now, Nutmeg's always cast about for her next new role, but now it looks very much like she is, in fact, casting about for her identity post-sock puppet. Bizarre that she thinks that she would even have an identity without the sock puppet. But that moves us on to the next topic, which is the Netflix show, which is upcoming in a couple of days. And apparently she is just pulling out all the stops to try to encourage people to watch it. Now, I know most of you are not going to watch it. I know the few of you who will probably watch it just for the laugh. I will watch it. I'm going to regret that promise later on, trust me. But I will, so that I can at least report to you if anything interesting takes place on it. But do I expect this to be successful? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. From all of the early indications, what we are looking at is Nutmeg pretending to be relatable, pretending to be just plain real folks, pretending to be this nice, sweet Betty Crocker personality. June Cleaver, really. Because one of the other articles, by the way, does mention this whole traditional housewife thing that she is pushing now. So, yeah, my hopes are absolutely not high for this one. Now, American Riviera Orchard / As Ever apparently has a new communications person, and I don't know if this is just for the show or for Nutmeg personally, or for Nutmeg and the Sock Puppet jointly, or for Archie. Well, your guess is as good as mine, but it is a woman named Meredith Maines, who is apparently well known as a big fan of William and Catherine. So, interesting, very, very interesting. Just goes to show that there's a whole world full of people out there who do not think that the universe breaks down into the pro-Meghan, pro-Catherine factions, and there's no other room in which people can exist. I do like the fact that at least somebody out there is making the point that her attachment to members of the royal family does not have to dictate her livelihood. I wish she would make better choices, because I wish this woman well. And I'm pretty gosh darn sure she's not going to get that working for Nutmeg. So, again, I wish her the best, because I know she's going to need it. But this is after Nutmeg already declared herself to be the chief executive officer of her new business, As Ever, because apparently nobody did the job to her satisfaction. Either that, or nobody was willing to do the job anymore. Take your pick. But that is definitely on the radar as well. And finally, we started off with the elderly faction of the royal family. Now let's move over to the youngest of these. And that would be Nutmeg and the Sock Puppet's putative children. Now, I've mentioned briefly before that Nutmeg is very blatantly merchandising her children. On the theory, I presume, because I don't really know what's going on in her cluttered little brain, I presume on the theory that people will tune into her show to see the children. Now, of course, there's no need of that, because, in fact, if there are any film clips of the children, those will emerge on social media, either as entire film clips or as still images taken from the film clips. And yeah, nobody's going to need to watch the show to see whatever pictures she wants to put out of the kids. If I were her, I think I would reconsider that move, because I've been looking at the pictures of Lilibet, and I gotta say, I think it's about time to do a deep dive into this. If this is something you're interested in, let me know in the video notes, because I'm seeing some serious discrepancies in the pictures, and some serious discrepancies between the pictures and the timeline that Nutmeg and the Sock Puppet are putting out there. So let me just give you a small taste of this from 3 of the most recent photos that have been released of Lilibet. And the first 2, and this is moving left to right, the first 2 are photos of a child that they are claiming to be Lilibet, who is also allegedly approximately 3.5, give or take. She certainly couldn't be much older than 3.5 in the photo on the far left, because Guy the Beagle is in there. And what we see here is a child who looks very different from the small snatch we see in the photo on the right. And that photo is a photo that was recently released by Nutmeg of Lilibet playing with Auntie Serena Williams. Again, merchandising the children, along with her friends. You know, if anybody has, frankly, the stupidity to be a person in her life, they're going to be merchandised, whether they like it or not, whether they agree to it or not, whether they are even aware of it or not, because everything is grist for her mill. So we have what one would ordinarily take to be a private little get-together between a friend of Nutmeg's and Nutmeg's alleged child that, yeah, bang, on Instagram, absolutely. So already we are seeing the pattern. The children are being merchandised. The children have been thrown into this show. And as I say, I can't read her mind, and I'm grateful for that. But it would appear to me that the purpose for putting the children in is to guarantee the curiosity factor, which will boost her viewership. At least a little. People will want to see the children. And I think, I hate to say this, but I think on one hand, although it's bizarre, I think that withholding images of the children may have, in fact, been a smart move. But merchandising images of the backs of the children's heads is going to backfire. People are going to be irritated and angry if they do turn onto the show looking for pictures of the children, and all they see are pictures of the children's hands, of the children's backs, of the tops of the children's heads. So yeah, short-sighted in my opinion, but hey, thank goodness I am not one of her personal advisors, so she doesn't have to listen to anything I say. But that's where we are at this point. We are going to take a look at a slideshow on the way out. Remember, let me know if you want a deep dive on either Lilibet, the child Archie, or anything relating to the putative children, because I am thinking it's about time. But that is going to be a lot of work that I am not going to do if you folks are not interested in seeing it. So you let me know. Remember, I give you the content you want. So if it's not content you want, no point in doing it. All right. I hope to see you all next time. And as always, have a terrific day.